Today, I'm going to go through an updated content strategy that you should be using as an online fitness coach. We have to change this every few months because algorithms change, what works in the marketplace changes, and we have seen some things quite recently with our clients that I want to make sure that you guys know as well. If you don't know me, my name's Steve McGrath. I grew my own online fitness business to 1.5 million in 3 years, and since then, I've been helping other coaches move online, build online businesses, and to date, we've helped over 100 coaches hit 6 figures. So today, we're going to talk about content. I'm going to break down the actual content strategy, so what you should be posting every week. I'm going to talk about how many times you should post. I'm going to talk about what kinds of posts you need to be posting, and I'm going to give you some examples of what those look like as well, so you have a bit of an idea, okay? So you should be able to come away by the end of this video with a good understanding of what a solid content framework looks like. Now, if you are a fitness coach, if you're a fitness person, this is just like following a plan in the gym. You go in and you do Monday chest, you do Tuesday back, you do Wednesday legs, Thursday shoulders, Friday probably arms, okay? That's kind of what this content plan is going to be like. I'm going to give you something to do every day, so you just kind of come in and follow it. This might be my mild autism kicking in of having to do the same thing on every day of the week, but I just find it works better having a framework that you can follow. Okay, so we're going to talk about 3 different kinds of content, okay? We're going to talk about coaching content, we're going to talk about connection content, and we're going to talk about proof content, okay? All right, so to give you an idea of what this looks like, coaching content is anything that's around your coaching styles. So your thoughts, ideas, tips, tricks around training, nutrition, lifestyle, mistakes, misconceptions, anything that's like educational content around your methods, okay? So anything like that comes under coaching content. Now, connection content is more about you, okay? So it's like your story, your values, your family, what's important to you, which kind of comes under values, okay? So these are like more like personal stories, things that you've been through, lessons that you've learned, things that have shaped you as the person that you are. And then proof is things like client results, testimonials, and like client interviews. Okay, so these are the 3 kind of content that we're gonna post, all right? So then we need to look at like how we want to blend this in. So coaching content is what we call top of the funnel. This is something that people are likely searching for. This is things that people are looking for. Like these are things that are going to bring in new eyeballs and new people to your process. So we call that top of the funnel. If you think of your social media like a funnel, okay, you've got all these people that don't know who you are out here. The coaching content brings them into the top of the funnel, which means that they are now aware of who you are because you've given them something valuable that they can kind of implement themselves. Middle of the funnel is then your connection content, which warms them up to who you are and what you do and what you like and what your values are. So that's where you build something called know, like, and trust. And then finally, you have proof at the bottom, which is where people see that you do what you say you do. They see the results that you get. They see that you can help people like them. And this is where you then would put your call to actions for people to then become a client. So think of it like this, okay? So your coaching content is top of the funnel. Your connection content is to build trust, which is middle of the funnel. And then you've got your proof content, which is bottom of the funnel. Now, depending on where you are in your business and in your kind of journey with growing this, you may need different parts of these and you can move these around. But the standard kind of procedure that we would look for with this is 3 coaching, 1 connection, and then 1 proof. That would give you 5 times a week. Now, this can change, just so you're aware. Like if you find that you've got lots of leads, but your conversion of your leads isn't great. Let's say you're running ads, for example, and you've got lots and lots of people coming in and you're finding that actually not as many of them are booking calls. You don't have a top of funnel problem. You've got enough leads coming in. You might actually have a trust problem, which means that you might want to adapt this to having a different setup. So you might want to go to 2 times a week here, 2 times a week here, and then 1 time a week here. In sales processes, if you are doing heavy pushes, and if you are doing like a launch, for example, this might be more like 3, 2, 1 for that week. So this is sales focused, this is trust focused, this is a bit of a balanced version. But this is more like audience growth, new people kind of setup, all right? So most of the time we start coaches on like a growth setup because usually they don't have enough followers or leads, until we get the ads running, and then once we've got the ads running, then we can move them into usually this one. This is the one that I actually personally like the most. It's a little bit more difficult than this one because you've got to think of more stories to talk about yourself, but it builds the most trust. So if you've already got ads running onto your profile, you don't need as much top of funnel content, and you actually want to do more of this and more of this. So it just kind of depends on your setup, but we'll use that for example. Now the way I would break that up is you want to put things in places that make sense. So like, for me, I really like doing a connection post on a Sunday because usually people are a little bit more reflective. They are thinking more about their week. For example, Monday, I would go with a coaching. I've realized they're both C's. Now, Tuesday or Wednesday, if you've been in the fitness industry for long enough, you'll remember Transformation Tuesday, which is when everyone used to post transformation posts. I think that was, why was it Transformation Tuesday and not Transformation Thursday? I'm not quite sure, but for me, I would always like to put proof earlier in the week, not at the start of the week, because sometimes people are a little bit groggy on social media on a Monday, but on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, I like to do proof. Reason being, if I've got inquiries from posting this post, it then gives me Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to book the call and close the call. If I do my proof on a Friday, for example, the problem with there is I'm generating leads, and then unless I'm going to take sales calls on a Saturday, I'm probably not going to speak to them until Monday, potentially even Tuesday. And that just becomes a bit of a mess because you've left it over the weekend. So I like to do proof a little bit earlier on in the funnel here. Wednesday, if you didn't do connection on Sunday because you reversed the post on Sundays, you could do then, or you could go back to another coaching. And then Thursday again, you could either do coaching or connection. Friday, it's up to you. I only really kind of get people to post 5 times a week. I think that's enough for people that are just getting started. And I don't really see a massive benefit from posting 10 or 15 times a week. Like, this is more than enough. So there's a couple of different routes you can do that, but this is a good one to start with. You can manipulate some of these days. You can do that on a Wednesday. You can do that on a Thursday, for example. You don't have to post on a Sunday. You can post that elsewhere. But as long as you're following this kind of framework, you'll be absolutely fine. That's pretty much a whistle-stop tour of a coaching marketing plan, okay? So you've understood how kind of the funnel works, of how to get people in the top, middle, and the bottom, and what those things do. You understand what kind of posts fit in which bracket, and then you also understand a little bit about the psychology of the week and where to place those posts for maximum effectiveness. So just to clarify, if you were taking my advice of the best way that I would think of doing it, okay, Sunday, I would do connection. Tuesday, I would do my proof, and those are the ones that I would lock in, okay? And then Monday, Thursday, Friday, and Wednesday, I would just pick 3 of those days to post my top of funnel coaching content, okay? And then if you want to, on Saturday, you can just post something about what you've got up to with the week and kind of your personal life and stuff like that. That is the kind of framework that I would follow if you were to ask me, okay? Now, obviously, there's a lot more that goes into content creation than just the framework. You need to know how to actually create those posts, what to write, how to make them engaging, and all stuff like that. If you want help with that, we can actually help you with that one-to-one. We plan out all the social media with you. We script it, you know, for you to start with, and then show you how to take that over and do it yourself, and how to edit it and all of those things to allow you to scale your online fitness business. If you want to do that, there's a link in the description below. Just click that, you'll book on one of the team, you'll be able to have a chat with them about what that looks like for you. That's pretty much everything. I have loads of other videos in the channel that you can kind of get more into depth on this as well. So if you want extra help with that, just have a binge watch through all the other stuff. And if you've got any questions, don't forget to let me know in the comments.